You can live stream for £20 all the way up to a couple of £1,000, but what is it you want to achieve? Some of these are acceptable, others would drive you crazy. Let's have a look at this today. If you're going to be streaming for long periods of time, the DSLR is an option. However, be careful which one you get. It's going to be like playing with fire. A lot of people use DSLRs, especially streamers, because they want a blurry background. That's not the be all and end all of making a great live stream. Here's a few more suggestions. One trick while shopping for cameras is to find a cheap camcorder. Most camcorders will have HDMI out, but the question is the HDMI out going to be a clean HDMI out? You don't want menus on your live stream. So the DSLR is superior to the camcorder, but there's a lot of wiring involved to get that exactly how you want it. Do you want all that headache? Even though it costs about 7 or 8 times the amount a camcorder will cost you. But what could you do for £50 to improve your live stream? If you were to look at an action camera, there's different types. Some of them allow HDMI out, some will go out via USB cable and can actually be powered via USB cable as well. Okay, so let me explain what the actual differences are between these cameras. The main things you want to worry about is the digital image sensor. Is the part of the camera that actually captures the image from the light that is reflected onto it by the lens. The sensors are of a good size in any DSLR or mirrorless camera, which I'll show you in my example right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some sensors out to show you what a small action camera sensor looks like and what a DSLR sensor looks like. This will give you a good perspective of the actual inside workings of the camera. So if you're not too interested in this bit, you can skip over it, but I think it's something you need to hear. Why are DSLR cameras more expensive than small action cameras when they both basically record video? So here I'm just drawing out some dots to illustrate the pixels on a small sensor. A small sensor, you can squish more pixels onto it, so you could have like a 40 megapixel sensor. You'll see with the video quality popping up on these what action camera footage looks like and how you can expect to upgrade a camera and get better image quality. So the first one you saw was an action camera at 720p, the Goodmans, and the second one is the 4K Apeman action camera. Already a decent improvement if you put lights on. So what you want to keep in mind is a larger sensor can also lead to larger pixels, which has significant benefits for your pictures and video. If you see a full frame camera with the same number of megapixels as a smaller camera, that doesn't mean they will have the same image quality. Rather, it means the pixels will have been spread out over a larger surface area on the bigger full frame camera. And as you will see in the examples I'm showing you now, larger pixels spread out over a wider surface area has a host of benefits for your video and your photography. So now I'm looking at this DSLR camera. The DSLR camera has a 35mm sensor, which is like a bigger sensor. My drawings are not to scale, so don't annihilate me in the comments with my drawings, sorry. I didn't have a blackboard or a whiteboard, so I'm using a notepad and a pencil. So I'm just drawing out the pixels here. The pixels may be the same as the action camera, as an example. So the DSLR is what, 21 megapixel, I think. The action camera is probably rated at like 40. But I'd rather have 20 megapixels bigger spread out over a wider area than have loads of pixels situated together. So the third mix we've got here is a camcorder. That's a go-between. That sensor, especially this one, is a 3MOS sensor. It'll be in between the action camera and the DSLR. So you know what? It'll give you good dynamic range and it'll be increased with a larger image sensor. But you know what? Looking at the video, it's perfectly usable for live streams and I was actually very happy with it. Medium sensor, you can use a camcorder. Small sensor, action camera. Big sensor, DSLR. What else can you improve on these? Well, let's have a look at that. So already you can see a few examples here popping up on screen to show you what lighting can do for you. Simple, cheap lights. You don't need to go fancy. You could get a camcorder, some great lights, and you'll get similar quality to your DSLR camera, if I'm honest with you. Okay, so we've covered your cameras, we've covered lighting. There's a few more things I want to include in this. Microphones are a massive thing. You know what? Let me give you a quick example of microphones. So all the good benefits you would get from having a mixing board and like a dedicated setup, it actually does a lot of that stuff for you. So if you're looking for a good nice budget. It's about £60 at the moment, so you can pick it up at a good price. Let me just show you how close I am to the microphone and how it sounds. But there is still an elephant in the room, and you know what that elephant is? It's how to do all of this. It can be tricky. There's been lots of people that have struggled with this, but you know what? It doesn't need to be difficult. I made a full guide about how to use a HDMI capture card and how to set it up. So we're going to get this elephant out of this room. And so I think it's time we summarize now and let you know what you can achieve from these cameras. So the DSLR camera is what you pay for it. It will be a higher quality option, but you're going to have some leads with it. Capture card, HDMI cable, continuous power, worry about overheating. If you were to look at a camcorder, that's something actually a lot more controllable and easily usable. You can get a HDMI capture card, you can get a cable. The power supply normally comes with the camcorder, so you can power it continuously without any worrying of overheating. The quality can be depending on the sensor, and most cameras 1080p will be sufficient for live streaming. If you were to look at an action camera, there's different types. Some of them allow HDMI out, some will go out via USB cable and can actually be powered via USB cable as well. It will give you a wider view. However, that's something you got to think about. Is it meeting your needs? On the ultra budget side of things, a cheap action camera, £10, £15, you can use it via USB cable, but it will be 720p, and also the quality of the sensor will be greatly improved if you can get a bit of lighting on it. Watching videos is only going to get you so far. Sometimes you have to just dive in and see what you end up making. It's like reading 50 Shades of Grey to find out about white balance.